All right, we are live and we are without Phil, so there will be
No.
no intro music, which sucks because I'd gotten used to that, having like a
Yeah,
good
there should be no intro. We should just hop right into it. They don't have to
like
know who we are.
semi-professionals.
Just dive right into it.
Our reputation precedes us. We don't need to introduce ourselves.
Yeah.
So anyway, welcome to this week's edition of the Squatchable podcast, where we take a look at the week in Bigfoot news. Joining me by herself this week from Tennessee, Nikki. Nikki, how are you?
Doing good. So sorry, y'all. Stuck with me. No Phil.
No Phil. It feels weird to be without Phil.
It really does. It feels awkward.
Like
We'll make
Phil,
do.
yeah, I mean, like no commercial breaks, no
No.
intro. What are we
No.
gonna do?
I don't know. Talk about Bigfoot.
Ugh.
Seems like so much work.
Exhausting. We'll have to stay on the topic and discuss it.
I mean,
Ah,
I can hit a top topic. That's easy. That's my forte.
nice. Well,
Going off topic.
well,
Hey,
we'll go on
lady.
a, we're going to, yeah, okay, yeah. You can talk to the chat tonight.
Yeah. And Stephanie. You're
Secret
like
Agent Stephanie.
Secret Agent Stephanie. And
She's
Subway.
actually joining us live. That's a miracle right there.
She's a busy woman.
She is a busy woman. She's a woman of multiple talents.
Yes.
All right. We're without Phil. I don't know. He didn't do Midnight in the Oasis last week. I don't know if he's doing it tonight. If he is, I imagine he'll be doing Skinwalker Ranch. If not, then no. Sorry, SoFlo. No Phil tonight. It's just me and Nikki.
Yeah.
You'll have to make do. No commercial breaks. None of the things that makes this show cool. It's just me and Nikki.
That's what happens when Phil's not here. He's like the glue.
He's like the glue that keeps us moving forwards.
That's right.
United. So anyway, our first story comes from cryptomundo.com. Is there a Russian-held Bigfoot carcass? I don't know, is there? Could the search for the best sea otter furs have resulted in the source of the best evidence for Bigfoot ever known? Sometime during Coast to Coast AM with George Newry, surprising stories are shared during the call-ins. In the last hour of the overnight appearance of Jeff Meldrum and John Bindernagel's discussion of Bigfoot, September 21st to 22nd, an American living in Ukraine telephoned into the talk radio program. The credible sounding individual had an intriguing account. The man identified himself as an environmental scientist. After the fall of the Soviet Union, he was hired to do air quality studies at the museum in the university in the changing Leningrad. While taking air samples in a three-level basement beneath the museum in 1992, he said he made a startling find. The American scientist related that he came across an object in a glass case that, according to the label, was an animal, an obvious Bigfoot, taken near a Russian outpost in Northern California. The outpost was near Mendocino, and the mounted hominid was collected in the late 1700s, from what he could tell on the museum label. The huge animal he saw and said was examined had several layers of skin, exhibited a 17 foot that was 17 inches long, and was amazingly 7 foot 1 inches tall, hair covered, and Bigfoot like. Where is it then? According to the dates, the founding of the universities in St. Petersburg, the scientists could only be talking about the St. Petersburg State University, which was founded in 1724. All the other universities in St. Petersburg are technology, electrical, polytechnical, and specialty institutes founded between 1828 and 1906. This could even be about the State Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg. A Russian discovery of an 18th or 19th century Californian Bigfoot body has never been mentioned before in any Russian hominological or cryptozoological correspondence book or literature. Could it be true? Could it, Nikki?
Um, I mean, I guess there's another video we're going to get into that would kind of explain why that might be true. When they were talking about finding like DNA and whatnot and it not fitting in their box. So it could be, or it could just be something that was created back in the 1700s that isn't a thing at all. I mean, it says it has several layers of skin, but how? How does he know that? Has it been cut open beneath the ice? Like, I don't remember it going into detail about that. It could just look really realistic.
Could indeed. I mean, this is an eyewitness account. There's no evidence that this even exists.
Exactly. But if it did, there's a little bit of a, but what if? If it, I
What
mean, it could. I mean, it's basically in the basement and they're like, nah, that's nothing. What if this is all a government cover up?
a government cover-up of Bigfoot?
I mean, it
This
could be.
this old chestnut.
Okay, so we have a pandemic right now, and everybody went out and bought all the toilet paper. If they came out and said that they were like cryptids or aliens, what do you think people would do? Like, even less toilet paper in the world.
Buy more toilet
We
paper.
can't handle it as a
I can
civilization.
I can see the point in getting toilet paper for an epidemic, but why would you go out and buy toilet paper if it was aliens?
I don't understand getting the toilet paper as a pandemic and stocking up on it because I mean, unless you just are really going to the bathroom a lot, in which case you should probably see a doctor for that. But this sickness doesn't generally manifest itself in, colonic disaster. So what's the point in stocking up for 3 years worth of toilet paper?
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't buy any toilet paper any more than
Yep.
usual.
Ham said toilet paper and bleach. I mean, we probably do the same thing. We'd be crapping ourselves if there were aliens or Bigfoot. Imagine what else we would be stocking up on. We already have people stockpiling ammunition, at least in the States, because of the plague.
I hate to be stereotypical, but you ever notice it's usually like big fat rednecks that do that? Like not, on the TV shows and stuff that stock up on ammunition and guns.
On the TV shows and stuff, and some of them are not rednecks. Like I know a few people from Memphis who don't fit the big fat redneck, equation. They're just piling up on ammo. But then again, they might live on Danny Thomas or something, which is a scary place. You want to keep ammo anyway.
Yeah, but like people that live in Memphis need a certain amount of ammo to get through the day anyway, don't they? I mean, the way you do.
Pretty true. It's very true. I'll have to tell you that story off air, maybe.
But yeah, could the short history of Russians being in California is and well, it was Spanish land at the time. Is well documented. So the Russians definitely, back in the early days of America, were there.
Yeah.
They were they were hunting animals for furs, sea otters and all sorts. And they moved down to California, and the Spanish kicked off. It was this whole thing.
Well, you're everything. Like you know a lot of stuff cryptid wise. So how far back do the sightings of Bigfoot in the United States go?
All the way back
1700s?
to before the Europeans even stepped foot on it. The
Oh,
natives were telling stories of Bigfoot.
Hmm.
Which,
So,
is a good argument for it. It's just, the
mhm.
natives told the European settlers it's a case of mass hysteria, if you want to be skeptical about it. Or it could be that there's something there.
That's true.
Hmm.
And there could be something in their basement that they're just not willing to or can't put forward. But it also could be something that somebody made. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah. It says there's several layers, but he didn't say it was displayed open as if they had done an autopsy or something.
No. No, it was just a Bigfoot in a box.
This year's great toy for Christmas, Bigfoot in a box.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that being a bestseller.
Yeah.
Well, we've already done that, though, like 4 years ago. Didn't go well.
Bigfoot in a box?
Bigfoot in a box. Oh, yeah, dude, you went around for the Hank hoax, were you?
I was not.
I don't even think that was 4 years ago. I don't know. It was a while ago now, 6 years ago maybe.
Yeah, it might have been before my time. And when we were doing the stuff with Phil, like we didn't really talk about Bigfoot that much. So this
It was before that.
yeah,
It was a long time ago anyway.
yeah,
Yeah,
like at least 6 years.
the Bigfoot in a box hoax has been done at least twice to my knowledge. Daisy in a Box and Rick Dyer's Hank hoax. Daisy in a Box is my favourite Bigfoot hoax by far. But anyway, get into it. So yes, do the Russians have a Bigfoot carcass in St. Petersburg? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, if any country was going to cover up the existence of Bigfoot, it would be the Russians.
Yep. Maybe they have them working for them.
Secret Agent Bigfoot.
Yes. He doesn't get a lot done. I mean, granted. He's just like, I saw these people through the trees. I wonder if Bigfoot is very much like we are with them. They're just like, I saw this weird hairless creature in the woods.
I swear. They see like burnt out cars and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, here's evidence of humans." And other people are like, "Nah, that's perfectly natural."
Someone created that. What is wrong with you, Steve?
Oh, there's a comic strip right there. Yes, I'm going to do that next week. Right. So yes, that was the Russian story. Moving on to the Squatch Master. I thought he was dead, but apparently not. Maybe he just faked his death. Can't remember. There was a thing where he was dying or something. Phil would know, but Phil's not here.
Did he have the row?
No, God no. Yeah. Well, I can't even remember. It was some big thing where he was in the hospital, and he said he was going to die, and then he didn't die, and Phil got really irate about it.
How dare you not die? How dare you make a miraculous recovery from some ailment? You dick.
Phil doesn't like the Squatch Master at all. The Squatch Master's been quite mean to Phil in the past.
I believe it.
I mean, he's a dick. So in this 4-minute video, the Squatch Master is panning along a hillside, and he zooms in on this shadow. There's no other word for it. It's just a black blob behind some trees. He talks about seeing it to whoever's with him, and then he does a breakdown on it. He does a breakdown at the end of the video where he films a TV screen with his phone. So just, something that's already blurry becomes even more blurry. And he talks about he can see obvious muscles and a hand and all sorts. And I'm like,
I like that in this video, emo or like the Bigfoot is like sitting in the most emo position. Like he's just hunched down with his head down, sad.
yeah,
He's a sad Bigfoot. And he's like, could it be a shadow? I guess it could be, but it looks like it's moving because in the woods, shadows don't move ever. I mean, it's not like trees and stuff that would, move in the breeze that would make a shadow move. That's crazy talk.
you're getting a bit skeptical there, Nikki.
I was very skeptical. And then the breakdown when he was like, look, he's sitting and this is his leg and this is his head down. These are his knees. I was like, that is a sad Bigfoot. He needs counseling or a hug. Go say hi.
Or just do something, get him some trauma. I mean, the coronavirus
stay so far away. I mean, go ahead, sorry.
It's probably bringing them down as much as it's bringing us down.
Exactly. They don't have fancy respirators that we know of or, doctors. It's probably just sad Bigfoot.
Sitting in the woods crying his heart out, listening to
I'm enough of a white person that I would have been like, that looks like, a shadow. Let me go check it out. And I know I'm that person regardless, because I think I've told you the story about William leaving his Discord on and me hearing screaming children in the middle of the night. And I thought it was like some kind of ghost or something. And at like 3:00 in the morning, I like wake up and walk towards the voices. And afterwards, when I realized what it was, I was like, I could have died. That would be the first one to be like, Bigfoot, you need some help, buddy?
You need a cuddle, buddy. Need some loving. Nikki's here for you.
Everybody would be so jealous. I got hugged, but nobody ever goes towards them. You notice that? They're not like, oh shit, I'm gonna run Bigfoot down. They don't.
In this case, it would be because he would. It would be very obvious that it was a root ball or a shadow if he got any closer.
It's
So
true. That's true. But I'm saying if it wasn't. I
yeah.
like that it's so far away and so blurry, but he thought that he saw the sinews of like Bigfoot's arm muscles.
Bigfoot's arm muscles, Bigfoot's hand, Bigfoot's legs. He saw it all in the black, blurry blob. He must have like eagle vision or something.
Right? I was like, wow, good reach there, buddy.
I mean, the only other explanation is he was talking absolute crap, but that just couldn't be, could it? He
No.
must know what he's talking about.
Yeah. He was a Squatch master.
He's the Squatch master. There's no arguing that. Okay, moving on to what was this? Oh yeah, a snippet of an interview with Ron Moorhead. 4-minute video, black and white. So they start asking, is there any scientific evidence that Bigfoot exists? And Ron Moorhead brings up both the Ketchum problem. There's a Freudian slip. Bring up the Ketchum project and David Paulides in the same sentence, and I just completely switched off. He was pretty convinced that the Ketchum project will be vindicated at some point in the future, and it will come down to DNA analysis because there's a Russian DNA project in the works as well. They then moved on to the fact that chimpanzees, well, it's actually orangutans, but they thought it was chimpanzees, have 98% DNA in common with us, but they are inherently undateable because they don't look very much like us. So 2% makes a huge difference. It's a good video. The link is in the description. Give it a watch.
Was a good video? Wow, I don't know. I just hiccuped in the middle of my sentence. It was a good video. I thought it was interesting. I don't know about the project because I'm a noob, but I mean, if what they were saying was true, it links up to the first one where it's like, meh, could be.
Okay. Well, the Ketchum project was basically a 3-year waste of time. A crazy vet took a bunch of unchain of custody proven DNA samples that could have been anything, ran it through the little DNA machine, and it came up unknown. A couple of them came up as human, some of them came up as bear, and it became decided that Bigfoot was some half angel, half human hybrid.
Ah,
that was the Ketchum project.
Gotcha. So I understand where you were like, nope.
Yeah, he said, I believe that the Ketchum project will be vindicated. I was like, nope, not listening to you anymore. Oh man, like there are people in the Bigfoot community that still have nightmares over the Ketchum project because we all thought that it was going to be like like we were going to have definitive answers, and no, she just strung us along for money basically, and it really sucked.
That does suck.
And if I sound bitter, it's because I am.
Oh, did you give money?
No, I'm not stupid enough to give money to Bigfoot.
You're like, a lot of people, it makes me really upset because a lot of people lost money. Oh no, but not me. I didn't.
Nah, man, it was just a debacle. Like, she couldn't even get it published. She had to publish in her own magazine. It wouldn't even pass peer review. It was so flimsy. But yeah, that was the Ketchum project. As soon as he said the Ketchum project will be vindicated, I was like, nope, switched it off. And then watched the rest of it anyway because I'm running a podcast and we need to talk about the whole video.
Right, instead of just the first couple of minutes.
Instead of like the first couple of minutes, exactly.
Yep.
So the links to all this are in the description. 2 stories left. Our next one comes from Squatchable.com. It is a sighting report. Nikki has been chomping at the bit to talk about this one, so I'll be interested in hearing what she has to say.
Do your intro.
So it starts from the first person, my wife and I had an experience. I was hunting for deer in an area in southern Ohio close to the Bob Evan Farr area off Route 35 before you come to Centerville. I had parked my Pinto station wagon at a farmhouse close to an area of hills and forested area. I entered the woods after an overnight rain. With everything being wet, you can move through the woods very quietly. I worked my way up and into the hill area without fences, building, or any signs of population. No cigarette butts, gum wrappers, or nothing. Was hiking through some ravines for about 2 hours until I came to a small creek. I followed it for about 1.5 hours until it came out to a grotto of rocks and pine trees. In this rocky area was a raised area about 8 feet higher than the surrounding area, and resting on this solid rock ledge was a wagon with a broken wood spoke wheel and a yoke for oxen with old leather straps and tack. It was setting to the right and forward of a large rock overhang that went back about 20 feet. On the floor up against the brick wall was a large pile of pine fronds about 12 feet long and 6 to 8 feet wide, 8 inches to a foot deep. To the left was a small pool formed into the rock and fed by a trickling waterfall. I mean, he's really painting a picture here. Like you feel like you're there. Something had crapped on the edge in a small way downstream. Knowing that animal ID is easier if you know what's being eaten, I examined the stool to stick to find hair, bone, fragments, shell from crayfish, and maybe eggs of some sort. Sounds like otter poop to me. Various types of grass blades vegetation made up a portion, but keep in mind the stool was very large, maybe wrist size, and maybe 4 to 5 pounds in a pile. There were stains in the rock from previous poops. There were no campfires nor human sign anywhere except for the remains of that farm wagon. I cannot remember any bird sounds or any other animal signs. Very quiet overall. I later told my father of this experience and asked his opinion of the possibility that this was a sleep site for a Bigfoot. My dad was employed by the Game Protector Division for a period from 1950 to 1957 in the Marysville, Ohio area. He said there needs to be a breeding population for the existence of any species, and there was just no evidence of that now, but the conversation was not over. Having given his opinion and reasoning for his view, he then said this about that, or see additional stories. So he told his own story, but they didn't write it in. We went back at the end of January and made it point to notice what we could. The stream had all but dried up, but the big flat rocks in the creek bed were westing on an edge in a very unnatural way. The temperature had fallen and everything was crisp, dry, and noisy. The wagon, oddly enough, had been moved and was now resting at the bottom of the rock grotto. Terry, my wife, said she was feeling very uneasy and wanted to leave, so we started down the ravine, and that's when it started. Shuffling sounds in the leaves were coming from the top of the ridge on our right, and they continued as it followed us out. Several knocks occurred for the next hours. We proceeded out of the woods, as well as shearing saplings, snapping limbs, and various chirps, whistles, grunts, all now coming from both sides of the ravine. It's scary. I was trying to inject a bit of terror into it. Rocks could be heard zipping through the leaves and hitting the limbs as they made their way down the sycamore trees to either side of us, only the thump to rest in the woods hard enough to feel close to the path. I took time to pick one up and put it in my hunting coat. I still have that rock. Several times I stopped and raised my 8mm Mauser, pointing towards the areas of disturbance. At no time did the onslaught stop. I don't think the perpetrators knew that I was aiming a high-powered rifle in their direction. I never fired, thinking it may have been humans, bootleggers, or who knows who. They followed us, harassing us all the way until nearly dark at the edge of the woods. This is where I gave my wife one of my pistols and told her to get to the car, lock the doors, and wait quietly. At this time, everything went silent. I waited there until no more movement. I waited there until the sound of the car horn off in the distance. I made my way out of that area of the woods, never to return. To sum up the story, I believe that it was a nest of sorts. I think that whatever moved that wagon down off those rocks pulled about 800 pounds or so down a good 20 feet with frozen axles and all. The trees that they shook were easy 25 to 30 feet tall. They snapped limbs. They made one hell of a snapping sound, and I've tried to repeat some of those sounds and cannot do it. There was some kind of communications going on between the opposite ridges, made of grunts, whistles, snorts, and wood knots. Rocks were thrown from the ridge top, as were limbs snapping in a loud fashion. We were followed a good way through the woods, but I never saw anything visually. Not a glimpse. Go on then, Nix.
Okay. Hold on. I'm writing down notes. I already did before, but I lost them because that's how I do. First of all, with the poop.
Yeah.
You're right, it does sound like otters, but however, yeah, Bigfoot does like to poop in peace. Um, so going through someone's Bigfoot needs to go see a gastroenterologist if he's passing things like this. Like, is he just eating the shells and can't properly digest them? Does he have an issue? Like, that's really specific to find in poop, which most things I can understand bone fragments, but most things would be, eggs.
Digested.
Would they not be digested? Like, maybe Bigfoot was making a crayfish omelet. You don't know.
Maybe they were insect eggs that had been laid after the poop.
Also, he talks about the onslaught and all of like the rocks hitting them or going through the woods and stuff, like something's throwing rocks at them. And I've heard this on many Bigfoot stories, and so I think that maybe Bigfoot needs to learn some hand-eye coordination. Like, they might be tall, but they shouldn't play basketball. They've got really bad aim. But while he's like kind of painting the picture, like he's terrified and they're kind of worried for their lives, he does stop and pick up a rock, which I think is, really important to the story.
Standard. When I'm
Yeah.
terrified for my life, I will often stop and pick things up.
Yeah, stick it in my pocket. Like, I'm worried for my life, but also, this rock would be really good evidence.
This is a really traumatic experience. I think I need a keepsake.
Right. Baby, go out to the truck and lock the doors. But I'm going to pick up this rock. It'll be fine.
I'm going to pick up this rock. Everything's going to be cool. If they're not throwing it, according to Bigfoot, quote, experts, end quote, they're not throwing rocks at people. It's supposed to be a warning because wild gorillas and chimpanzees do that.
Yeah. Okay. Just to get you out of the way. I'm just saying, like, if I were Bigfoot and I wanted you out of my business, I would just hit you with a freaking rock and then probably eat you.
But they don't eat people, man. They're Bigfoots of peace. It's all about nature and balance.
Exactly. Thank you, Dean. He grabs the rock, but not the poop. Why didn't he take some of that poop? It would have had DNA in it.
It would have, but that would be evidence. And
that's right. That rock is far more. It reminds me of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, where they're like, "Quick, Brad, grab something useful," and he picks up like a shoe in the middle of. If you're a Rocky Horror Picture Show fan, you'll understand the reference. But just absolutely useless. A rock. But yeah, she should have grabbed the poop. Definitely. But yeah, and then
almost annoyed about that.
I'm really annoyed kind of with how ambiguous some of this is set up. Like, he talks about I think whatever moved that wagon down off of those rocks pulled about 800 pounds or so down a good 20 foot with frozen axles and all. Those wheels were as high as my head, and I'm over 6'2" tall. So like, that was a huge ass wagon, or he messed up how to construct the sentence. I don't know. He did talk in double negative earlier too, and that got onto me. But
the grammar was pretty terrible in this.
It was. So I'm like, so is it like high? It says down a good 20 foot with frozen axles. So I don't know. That's either a really big damn wagon, like a massive wagon, in which case, if Bigfoot have giant wagons, why aren't we seeing more of them? I don't know. There's a lot to deconstruct. And I also tend to feel, I understand being descriptive is very important when telling a story. However, you have two different ways to tell if someone's lying, and sometimes it's because too much detail.
Yeah, you want to be very careful when you're telling a lie. You want to keep the detail level to like medium. You don't want too much and you don't want too little.
Yeah.
And I agree with what you're saying that there's way too much detail in this story.
I understand that, I mean, they do that all the time now with blogging. I mean, you can't even get a recipe without hearing like, well, when I was 6, I used to go to the country and my grandma made the best apple pie. And it's like 7 paragraphs before you can find the recipe. And I get that that's part of blogging, but it's a little bit ridiculous, and the grammar was questionable, and there were some fairly ambiguous sentences in there. Like, I still don't know what the hell. The wheels were as high as my head, and I'm over 6'2" tall. It doesn't even. I don't know. Whatever.
So the wheels were like 7 feet tall.
The wheels were like at least 6'2" tall.
Yeah,
I
at
don't.
least 6 foot
I
2.
mean, I understand that there are some big wagons, but that's a big ass wagon just being toted around by Bigfoot. I guess they're getting more progressive.
I guess so. Maybe they're developing tools in yoke and oxen now. They'll start farming, chase the pot farmers out of the woods and be like, this is Bigfoot farming land now.
Yeah, and then he also talks about the trees that they shook were 25 to 30 feet tall, and they snapped limbs. They made one hell of a snapping sound. And so, was there no wind at all going on? Maybe it was just really windy out. Like, how many Bigfoot were there shaking trees?
Like at least 30.
At least. At least 30. Yeah. Just throwing rocks. Didn't hit anybody.
Didn't hit anybody.
And it was
Shook-
leisurely enough he could stop and pick one up. Like, oh, thanks,
And,
Bigfoot.
and, you know, it wasn't so terrible that he couldn't stop and pick a rock up.
Right.
I
But
take it that you're giving this story a thumbs down.
I am. I am. One
It's
day
not
y'all
getting
are
the
gonna
Nick
do
Reese.
one, and I'm gonna be like, okay, yeah, I could see that. Like, I think you guys have had one. Yeah. I was thinking that too. Why would Bigfoot be resting by its pooping spot? Why wouldn't it be further away?
Good contribution, A Space NG.
That's right. It's a really good contribution because I had thought that too, and the fact that he pooped right next to the stream. Why would you do that? Bigfoot has to drink too. I understand it was downstream. You still don't want to be pooping in the stream that you're drinking
You
out
don't
of.
know. Maybe it's a cultural thing.
It might be.
Maybe they're all scatophiliacs.
They might be. And dandrophiliacs. Maybe they weren't shaking those trees. Maybe they were so excited to see a human. That's their thing. It's like porn for them.
Bigfoot humping trees. Speaking. Oh, this is getting ridiculous. Right, okay. Speaking of humping trees, let us move on to our final story of the night.
Your favorite person.
Yeah, my favorite person in the whole world. Let's give a shout out to the one, the only Dr. J, Matthew A. Johnson. He's been rather sick lately, but he seems to be getting better and posting again. He has an announcement for all you worthless non-believers that don't get on your hands and knees and worship him. Xanu.com is now online. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I know you've all been waiting for this moment, but it's finally online. Although the human race has given many names to the Bigfoot forest people, they actually refer to themselves as the Xanu. If you would like to know who they are, where they're from, and why they're here, then you have found the website you have been looking for. In other words, you have found Bigfoot. The Xanu live on all 6 habitable continents and are eager to get to know you and interact with you. You must be a good, kind person with a good heart and an open mind. If you reach out to them, then they will reach out to you. We invite you to come out here and learn how to do so. Although this website will be evolving and getting better and over time, for now, feel free to explore all of our present options, including our events page and store page, where you will find our 2 Bigfoot books our Bigfoot Zanu University conference during the last weekend of April, probably not going to happen now, and our last summer Camp Zanu night sit sleepover events during the months of June, July, and August. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to send a Facebook message to Dr. Matthew A. Johnson. So there you have it. If you've got money to burn.
It sounds incredibly cultish and new agey.
Oh, it's totally a cult.
Well, yeah, because they're here. If only you'll trust and believe, they'll seek you out. You just have to be of pure heart. They're totally a thing. And if you don't see them and they don't make contact with you, it's because you're not worthy.
Exactly. It's the Emperor's new clothes, ladies and gentlemen. Only stupid people can't see that they're Bigfoot. Which is,
Not stupid. They have to be somewhat evil, and they don't believe enough.
They don't believe enough. You just gotta believe. So yeah, he hasn't got the description of why they're here on his website. He hasn't got any of the information he's purporting to have on that website. But what he does do is a link to buy his books and to sign up for his conferences where you pay him to spend the night at his house. I do recommend purchasing books with the toilet paper shortage going on. I mean, it's a good 400 pages, thoroughly, absorbent. Just saying.
That's right. If you can't find toilet paper, just buy one of Dr. J's books.
And use that. It's all the same.
It is essential.
So that's it. So that's that. He has not, put anything of any value on the internet except to sell out as much as possible. So, and if you think that's going to happen and I'm not going to comment on it, you are sorely mistaken.
I think if anybody knows you, that anything that he says, you're just going to jump all over it. Like
he is my Carol
Baskin.
Yeah. I would totally pay someone drugs. No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. You can't say that.
Dr. J, that. Yep.
Well, that'll wrap us up for this week. We will return next week, despite the hopes of many. Hopefully
we'll have a Phil.
Hopefully, we'll have Phil. If not, I'll find some gullible idiot, probably Nikki again, for next week.
Wow.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, that'll wrap us up for this week. We will return next week. Head on over to Facebook with Bigfoot and with Keith and Colin to read the old comic strip. It's really good and amazing. We've got a space worm now. Space worm. Everyone loves the space worm.
I just like your comics. Super happy you're still at it.
I keep thinking I'm done, and then I have a brilliant idea, and then I carry on doing it.
That's awesome.
That's the curse of being a humble genius.
You need to find someone who's a huge Bigfoot fan and really believe that they exist and aren't as cynical as I am, because that would be great.
Yeah,
I want someone to explain away.
Yeah, but those kind of people genuinely get on my nerves as a rule.
That's true, but it would be even more fun then.
It would be fun if I could find a dyed-in-the-wool Bigfoot believer who will just be like, Nikki, shut up, they're obviously real. And you could be like, no, they're not real.
And he's like, obviously that Bigfoot was sitting down because he was tired and just resting. That's obviously, you could see.
You know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to look for a dyed-in-the-wool Bigfoot believer.
Do it and see if they're ballsy enough to come on the show. At least with Phil, too, because Phil's Phil.
Me and Phil actually interviewed Dr. Johnson.
Yeah, I've heard this story a bunch of times.
Sorry.
No, I think it's great. He probably wouldn't come back on.
No, he wouldn't. Anyway, yeah, let's wrap this up.
Okay.
We'll be around next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.